I'm Carol Birdsong, and I'm the Executive Director of Williamson County Schools in the area of communications. To the media who is here today, thank you so very much for being here, for helping us educate our families about student safety and the consequences of certain behaviors. We ask that you help us challenge our families to have the talk about student safety, and you'll hear more about that in just a few minutes. I want to introduce to you some of our leaders who are joining us today, and you will have the opportunity to hear from them shortly, and then we will have a question and answer session afterwards. To my right, Williamson County Schools Superintendent Jason Golden, Williamson County Sheriff Dusty Rhodes, Williamson County District Attorney Stacy Edmondson, Williamson County Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Mason, the Director of the Tennessee Office of Homeland Security, Greg Mays, Williamson County Juvenile Court Director Zanny Martin. To my left, these are the folks who worked to make this project possible. Williamson County Schools Director of Safety and Security, Michael Fletcher. Williamson County Sheriff's Office Captain, Leonardo Zollikofer. On the end down here, Williamson County Sheriff's Office Corporal Mike Grandy and Gidget. Back to where Williamson County Sheriff's Office Detective Lee Eaves and Williamson County Sheriff's Office Detective Rachel Haber. Williamson County Schools serves approximately 43,000 students. We have 52 schools, 11 high schools, 11 middle schools, 1 K-8 school, and 29 elementary schools. We have 66 school resource officers, otherwise known as SROs, who serve our schools. During the past year in Williamson County Schools, approximately 250 incidents of a student threatening violence were investigated by the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, resulting in approximately 45 arrests. 117 students were disciplined for drug-related reasons to include possession of drugs, drug paraphernalia, selling and distributing drugs. Across the county, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office investigated more than 30 cases that involved sexual images or videos and the use of a cell phone. Of those 30 cases, approximately 12 of those involved sextortion. And they will tell you that they believe those cases are underreported. So why are you here today? How did this safety project evolve? This grew out of a meeting with the folks to my left. They were challenged about the ways to communicate with our families. They wanted ways to reach our families on student safety issues that you don't always hear about or see about, but that they work on almost every day. So, with our safety director, Michael Fletcher, meeting with all of these fine folks, they came up with topics that they felt like needed to be addressed, and they were the ones willing to deliver the message through video and through talking with you all today. Here are the topics that they chose: how Williamson County Schools approaches school safety, school resource officers, drug searches, sexting, sextortion, and threats. So we're going to show you those now, and then we will hear from some of our leaders and take some questions from you all.
As someone who oversees safety and security in Williamson County Schools, I want to make sure you're aware of some of the safety measures we have in place and ask for your help to keep our schools secure. It's time to have the talk about student safety. The new state law requires all exterior doors leading into a school building be locked at all times. It also states that access to the school building is limited to the school's primary entrance during the school day as well as when students are present outside of regular school hours. So, when you come to visit the school, we expect you to show a photo ID and wait until an employee allows you entrance into the building. Do not allow anyone else to enter with you. They must go through the same process. And once you're inside, you must sign in. In Williamson County, we use an all-hazards approach to protect our schools, and we practice for various events. We need for you to talk to your child about understanding the importance of taking all the drills seriously, whether it's for evacuating during a fire, sheltering in place during a storm, or locking down if someone attempts to cause violence. Not what you want to hear? I get that, but it could happen to your child. Parents, it's time to have the talk. It's time to have the talk about student safety.
As someone who oversees the Williamson County Sheriff's Office School Resource Officers, I want to make sure that you know how we all can work together to keep our students, staff, and schools safe. It's time to have the talk. It's time to have the talk about student safety. We have a school resource officer, otherwise known as an SRO, in every school building, and larger schools have an additional SRO. It's important for you and your child to know your SRO's name and that they are a resource. Even more important, we want to make sure the students are taking an active role in their own safety. We can't do this alone. Our students play a vital role in keeping our schools safe. Let your child know it's okay to close outside doors to their school building. It's okay not to open side door for anyone trying to enter the building. It's okay to share information that is concerning with their SRO. You know, if you see something, say something. Here in Williamson County, we've learned of threats against schools or students on social media because students and parents have reported it. We have stopped acts of self-harm because a friend was worried and shared that with an SRO. And we have succeeded in ending sextortion plots against a young person because their peer was scared and told us about it. These are just some of the situations we've dealt with right here at home. Not what you want to hear? I get that. But it could happen to your child. Parents, it's time to have the talk. It's time to have the talk about student safety.
As someone who conducts random searches at middle and high schools across Williamson County, I, along with my partner Gidget, want to make sure you know the risk to your child's future if illegal drugs are found in their lockers, backpacks, vehicles, or anywhere in their possession at school. It's time to have the talk. It's time to have the talk about student safety. It doesn't matter if it's cocaine, meth, THC, or fentanyl. It doesn't matter if it's a prescription medication if the prescription is not your child's. It doesn't matter who owns the drugs if your child is in possession. When Gidget indicates, law enforcement has the right to conduct a search. Illegal drug possession on a school campus, on school buses, or any school-sponsored activity is a zero-tolerance offense, and Tennessee state law mandates that any student in unlawful possession, handling, transmitting, using, under the influence, sharing, or selling illegal drugs will be sent to the Alternative Learning Center for 180 days. And then there's juvenile court, where your child could potentially face felony charges. There won't be any more extracurricular activities at school, and it could also affect opportunities for future employment or admission to college. Not to mention, illegal drugs could harm your child's physical and mental health, maybe even leading to overdose or death. Not what you want to hear? I get that, but it could happen to your child. Parents, it's time to have the talk. It's time to have the talk about student safety.
As someone who investigates sexting, I want to make sure you know the risk to your child's future if they send sexually explicit messages and images through texts, apps, emails, or computer games. It's time to have the talk about student safety. Oftentimes, these types of images are sent through apps like Snapchat, WhatsApp, or within online gaming communities such as Xbox or PlayStation. Your child thinks that the image will self-destruct after a certain amount of time, but that's just wrong. Once that picture is sent or shared, control of the image belongs to someone else, and they can use it however they choose. Children who engage in sexting expose themselves to risks such as harassment, sextortion, and in some extreme cases, legal repercussions. Consequences of this behavior could affect your child's school experience, their social and emotional well-being, or their future endeavors. Not what you want to hear? I get that, but it could happen to your child. Parents, it's time to have the talk with your child about student safety and the dangers of sexting. As someone who investigates sextortion, I want to make sure you know the risk to your child's future if they get involved with sending sexually explicit images, and then are asked for money or sexual favors from someone threatening to reveal evidence of their sexual activity. It's time to have that talk, the talk about student safety. A child sends a sexually explicit message for a number of reasons: to foster a sense of intimacy, or sometimes to be funny. Some might send to a romantic partner because of a threat of a breakup or a threat of violence. As guardians, we must teach our children to not ask for such content, and if asked, refuse to provide the images. A child needs to know that if they are being extorted, they need guidance and support from a trusted adult. A child may try to send money to the blackmailer, or engage in sexual favors, or even worse, commit acts of self-harm, including suicide. Not what you want to hear? I get that, but it could happen to your child. Parents, it's time to have the talk. It's time to have the talk about student safety.
As someone who investigates student and school threats, I want to make sure you know the risks to your child's future if they make a threat. It's time to have the talk about student safety. There's a new law in Tennessee, and any student who makes a threat of mass violence, that's a threat to 2 or more people, will be sent to the Alternative Learning Center for 180 days. That's an entire school year. It doesn't matter if it's on a bathroom wall, on a piece of paper, or on social media. It doesn't matter if it was done with intent or as a joke. Making any kind of threat will not only get your child punished at school, but in juvenile court, potentially facing felony charges. That could affect their current and future education and employment opportunities. Not what you want to hear? I get that. But it could happen to your child. Parents, it's time to have the talk. It's time to have the talk about student safety.
I cannot thank this group enough for working on this project with us. I'm so very pleased with the messages that they were able to deliver. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Williamson County Schools Superintendent Jason Golden, who has a few words to share.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you everyone for coming here. You know, we created these videos to emphasize the importance of all of us working together for student safety. We have found in our work, where we spend every day thinking about student safety, that there's truly no substitute for people. From the Sheriff's Department, our SROs who are in our buildings, developing relationships with students, planning for those events where their services are needed immediately, developing that knowledge and of where student needs are, to our investigators who you saw in these videos, who spend time looking for opportunities to solve problems before they occur, to our district attorney's office, who finds solutions to protect victims, to our juvenile court, who looks for opportunities to provide services to students who need that little additional help, to our state offices who provide extra services to us and plan for us and set parameters for us. We have found that there is no substitute for people. Our faculty and staff, our safety team here at Williamson County Schools, and especially we want to emphasize with these videos the importance of our students and our parents working together to protect each other and to protect our children and everyone who is a part of Williamson County Schools. So with these videos, we have found and put together a share on those key points that we have seen as common challenges that we've been experiencing here in our community. We know that when our parents get together with our students, when our parents get together with our faculty and staff, and when our whole community works together, that we can grow student safety. So thank you all for coming. And we very much appreciate that focus in our entire community on improving our students' sense of safety. Carol?
Thank you. Now Williamson County Sheriff Dusty Rhodes.
Thank you, Carol. I want to reiterate what Jason Golden said. I want to thank all of y'all for being here. These videos that you have seen, they are not scripts that we've made up. This is in situations that we have dealt with for the past several years. Parents, you have to have these talks with your children. And don't be afraid to ask for their cell phones. Which is more important, your child's privacy or your child's safety and future? We will take all these cases and investigate them to the fullest. We do not take any threats as a joke. All threats are considered serious, and we will investigate them to the fullest. Again, parents, take the responsibility and look at your child's phone, and if you see something on there, please reach out to us. We had rather respond and find out there's nothing to the situation than to have had the situation and not be notified that something happened. Again, thanks for being here, and I wish all the parents and students that are listening to this a good school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. And now Director of Tennessee Office of Homeland Security, Greg Mace.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you for being here. I really want to just echo what the others have said. What you're seeing here today is a really great job by Williamson County of building a team that approaches school security, and it does take a team approach. There is no one entity, no one person, or no one shortcut to making sure that schools are safe. Both the governor and the General Assembly are going to expand the Office of Homeland Security significantly so that we can take a model like this into other counties around the state, and we can build this team concept where maybe it is not as robust as it is here in Williamson County. With respect to the school threats, which I think are very important, it's important to remember that the research tells us a couple of key things. It says that close to 80% of school shooters told somebody they were going to commit an act of violence before they did it. And the research also tells us that we need to create an environment in our schools that is warm and welcoming of threat reporting. Some kids will want to maybe report directly to their SRO or to their teacher or to their coach or to an administrator. Others will want to use an app like the SafeTN app where they can report on the phone. The people to my left here and the administrators in this whole group have created an environment like that here. And the more, if we learn about the threats beforehand, we can do something before we have something horrible happen. So again, thank you for being here, and thanks to Williamson County.
Thank you. Thank you guys again so much for being here and helping us get the word out. Thank you to our leaders. Thank you to our participants and all of the work that you guys do every day to keep our schools, our students, and our county safe.